Welcome to the Q Podcast.
Q is about conversation.
If we're really concerned about ending poverty, we've got to be more concerned about creating justice.
Our cultural products as Christians need to both defy and resonate with the culture.
And God's doing amazing things. His church is expanding, his church is growing.
It's not what's the purpose of my life, it's what is the purpose that's been assigned.
Stay curious, think well, advance good. This is Q.
Welcome to another edition of the Q Ideas Podcast. I'm Gabe Lyons, and today we are talking about battle rap. Okay, I bet you didn't think that's where this conversation was going to go, but we're talking about an art form that some of you have heard of, but maybe you haven't. And today you're going to get introduced to an artist who's been called into this space. And this is what I love about Q Ideas and the community that we try to bring together and we try to amplify so that all of you are being informed and exposed to some new creative outlets and ways in which truth goes forward. And whether you're in technology or business, or you're called to be a programmer, or maybe you're called into the medical field, or a professor or a teacher or a scientist, wherever you're called, there's a way in which faithfulness wants to show up through you, and God wants truth to go forward through your life, through your words, through the way you do your work. And that's been the conversation we've been having for now almost 16 years through Q Ideas. And today is just going to be fun because you're going to get to hear from somebody who's been called into this space called battle rap. And I have to be honest with you, 2 years ago, I did not know what battle rap was. So I had to get educated on this. And then I met Street Hymns, who's a musical artist, apologist, entertainer, and battle rapper from Arlington, Texas. And what they do in battle rap, okay, I'm just going to set the scene for you. Two artists come together. They do their work on each other beforehand. It's like literally like a battle. Like think about how two people box in a ring. And they train for that, they prepare for that, and then there's the moment where they meet. Well, that's what happens with battle rap. Like, people train, they have a competition, they show up, and each person drops their lyrics in front of a group, in front of a crowd, in front of a camera, and they go back and forth. And they're sometimes coming up with these lyrics in the moment, sometimes they've prepared them, but the point is, at the end, somebody wins and somebody loses, and that's what battle rap is. Well, Street Hymns has become one of the most prolific battle rappers on that scene. And you'll hear in his story how much he just feels called into this space, how God's prepared him for it, how he takes it so seriously as a mission field and a space that he's been called into. And I think you're going to just love the energy here. He's young. I mean, Street Hymns is youthful, and he's bringing something into this conversation that I think will inspire all of us. Let's listen in now to Street Hymns on Truth Through Battle Rap.
What's good? What's good? So, aside from Super Hot Fire and the movie 8 Mile, many of y'all may not be familiar with battle rap, but it's actually a very, very rich culture. Now, from the outside in, you'll look at it and be like, man, with the vulgarities, with coming the next day back to church smelling like weed and cigarettes, like people will discourage me from going into it based on the environment itself. But when I look at how Jesus operated and what he did, he would go to the places that needed it and then came back with what? All the materials he needed. And so what I feel like we need to do is start to equip people based on going into cultures that we're being told not to go into. Like if I listen to the people that were discouraging me and telling me, hey man, like, yo, I saw in that environment you were in, there was a stripper pole there, or there was like people was talking about shooting guns and stuff. I'm like, well, first of all, nobody's on the pole. And another thing is like facts. But for me, it's the club. But if we're the ecclesia, I feel like we need to start putting the ek in it. Like for us, we can't expect people just to go into the church. We are the church. The church is not a building, it's an organism, it's us. So we have to step out into the environments that we're called to. Now, the thing I encourage the youth I work with, the people around me, even the adults, is wherever you feel like you're called to impact culture, whether it's battle rap, whether it's gaming, whether it's modeling, whether it's video, whether it's media, do it because God has qualified you and called you to do it. I had that call on my life 6 years ago to go into it, but the Lord put the burden to be a battle rapper in my heart 12 years ago. Before I was even doing it, I just didn't know what it looked like. And it wasn't until I saw one of the people who came before me as a Christian battle rapper be on the biggest battle rap stage in the world and represent Christ in a way that was like, yo, this is how it can be done. I end up stepping into there, and then I'm battling on a league platform on YouTube that probably averages like 500 views to 1,000 views. I get on there, the church supports me, and I end up having a battle that makes 12,000. Next thing you know, 50,000. Next thing you know, 100,000. And they're like, yo, who's this Christian dude over here like coming in, getting all these views? And honestly, for me, I realized it was me boldly proclaiming who I was and how I was in that environment. And that's the thing about Jesus. He doesn't meet you where you're at to take away your culture, take away your identity, take away how you are. He wants to redeem that and align it to his call. And so I feel like what we need to do is empower those people so that we can reach those communities and organizations. So for example, being that I'm predominantly reaching out to the urban community, a lot of things that happens is I'm in a context where hip hop religiosity and urban theologies is taking over the black community in general. You know, for example, my opponent, you saw right there, his name was Solomon Crow. People that believe that they're God, the black woman is God, you know, Nation of Islam, 5 Percenters, Hebrew Israelite movement, a lot of different ideologies, philosophies, and these are people I'm battling. And what they don't see behind the scenes is me doing 50 hours of research, watching debates, reading Christian philosophy, reading Christian theology, and studying these things in order to understand how I'm going to bring this material against an opponent that's coming there to try to crash everything that I believe. But is that not what Paul was doing when he went to these places? But the thing is, I want to really, really emphasize this, because one thing I'm commonly seeing is we do things like visit places, call it ministry by dropping things off and then giving a word. What we have to do is we need to stop doing this immediate conversion and do proximate immersion. We need to really immerse ourselves in cultures. Otherwise, how can you even know? If you were to see battle rap culture, you'd be like, yeah, not for me, but it's for somebody. And the Lord is calling and raising up people to go to all 4 corners, all kingdoms. What are kingdoms? Kingdoms back then, what? Dictated culture. So we should be going into all cultures. So if you're seeing your son, your daughter, people in your ministries, people in your small groups directed towards a certain genre or lane, we need to equip them so that they're able to do these things. And so that's what I was blessed to do with the people around me, the resources that were brought to me. I was able to move to an urban environment in one of the toughest parts of Dallas called Village Oaks. And it's through a ministry that supported me and living there, being there. I was there on a prayer walk one night, and while at the prayer walk, I survived a shootout, a drive-by. Nobody got hit that night, but it was a blessing because after it, I had people hitting me up like, yo, man, like you gotta get out of that community, man. Like, it's dangerous right now. I was like, if I leave, then the light leaves. Like Jesus didn't say, oh, well, because it's getting dangerous, let's go ahead and, no. We have to be willing to stay where we're called, right? So I was blessed enough to become battle rap to the battle rapper so I could win the battle rapper and save some. So I'm challenging you, who is it? What is it? What culture are you called to impact so that you can save some? Because I can confidently say, when times get hard, these people that say they don't believe in God, these people that say they don't pray, that had a church background, when times are getting hard, suicidal thoughts are happening, a death in the family, guess whose phone they're calling? Guess who they're hitting up? And guess who I've seen literally have life changes and people come to the gospel based on the work that we started in battle rap culture. And it's the battle rappers. So for me, I'm blessed enough to say I street hymns, doing hymns for the streets lead hymn, and also my team are impacting the culture in such an impacting way that we are literally ranked as one of the best battle rap teams in the culture in general. It was fire too, you feel me? So, you know, so Because at the end of the day, like we're called to excellence. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. What a time limit go? Okay, bet. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Awesome, man. So good.
Yeah.
Thanks. Stay up here for a second.
Oh yeah.
Don't you just love that? Just taking it to the street, taking it right where it needs, and challenging all of us, right? Wherever we've been called, get in there. Don't stay out of it.
Absolutely.
A cool story. I mean, this kind of relates to some of what we were talking about with Ashley, the idea of creating culture, 2 or 3 working together. Through Q, some of you know Roberta Amundsen was with us back in November for Q&A, talking with John Mark Comer about church history and deconstruction, and the 2 of you got to meet.
Absolutely.
And in that relationship, it's been cool to see how Roberta, as an older church historian, builds a friendship with you, a young battle rapper.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what's happened in that collaboration.
So we were at it was a luncheon, so we got to choose. They had like little tables and stuff. You got to choose which topic you could go to. And so, you know, I was about to go to conspiracies, because come on, you know. And it was, so if you know me, yeah. But while I was there, it was somebody who was at the other table. I was like, what table is this? Like, oh, history. I was like, history. And so he starts talking, and he starts talking about Roberta. And Roberta spoke earlier on. I was like, you know, let me sit there for this. And so she's literally telling this story about how she has been involved in studies abroad, and specifically Africa. And she's talking about her friend named Tom this entire time, and how Tom was working on his book that was how Africa helped shape the Christian mind. As she's talking 30 minutes in, I said, wait. Tom, as in like Thomas Odin? And she was like, yeah, Tom. And I'm like, you don't even understand. Like, that book, How Africa Shaped the Christian Mind, is a book that me and everyone in my team has read in order to equip ourselves for the work of battle rap. I said, you have no idea the impact, the work that you've done and what y'all are doing in developing history and enriching blacks to understand that Christianity has started from the East, then to the West, and not the backwards, you know what I'm saying? And how much that has actually been a key tool for us to actually go into that realm and say, yo, y'all got it twisted. This is not a white man's religion. It's Christ's religion, right? And there's history within Africa in that. And so she ends up tearing up because like, I'm like, yo, this is so dope. So it was a relationship now that we have. I talk to her every week because I actually had an opponent who I was writing for at the time as well. And I needed some of the resources she had. She said, cool. And next thing you know, I kid you not, I got like 40 books sent to me. I'm like, I can't go through all of these.
Right. She had like her research team go, okay, let's help Street.
She's like, Ethiopia history, Africa history. I was like,
just a fun story though of like in community, even tonight over dinners as you meet people, you never know what God's trying to do in this room, how the Spirit of God wants to move to equip each of you, to encourage you, to encourage your heart. So let's thank Street for his faithfulness. Thank you for being with us today.
Indeed. Appreciate you, man.
Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing Street's perspective, and go search him. Like, go to YouTube, look up Street Hymns. If you want to watch this talk, go to qideas.org/trial, and you can actually see this talk, and you can see even within that talk, we show some of his battle rap so you could experience that. But we'd love for you to just continue to follow him and watch what he's doing and how God's using him in the world. And in addition, if you want to share this with your friends, maybe share it with your kids or teenagers or those who maybe would find battle rap a pretty interesting topic that they're surprised Christians are even talking about or informed about. Share this talk with them and encourage them today that there are people in literally every field, every industry, every type of art who truly want to carry forward the truth of what God speaks to us about, of what he wants to speak to our world. And they're doing it faithfully and boldly and courageously. And so we honor Street Hymns and his work there. We hope that you have a wonderful week and look forward to the conversation next week.